The sign of a good manager is that he can spot when something's going wrong, make changes, and that's exactly what Sergej did at Norwich. Welcome back to Where Tigers Walk. We are looking at Hull finally now got a manager that can get them out of this accursed league. Hope you're doing well. Fraser says we went from being 1 point away from League One to now looking like promotion contenders. Sergej has done a great job. He got the second half change right, says Danny. We need a song for him. Yeah, that's our aim for today as well. We're looking back on that. Curse of Carrow Road is now over. What went well in that result at Norwich, and yeah, just what can Hull achieve this season under this fantastic manager? We've got Elliot, Ben, Matty, and Jack back with us to review an amazing result. Elliot, did you see that coming?
To be fair, all week I was a bit worried for that game, just with not only because of our record at Carrow Road, but also with Norwich having lost 6 on the bounce or 5 on the bounce before that, and them having a bit of poor form, especially at home, having not got any points yet. So I thought they'll probably end up nicking something against us, as the old saying, typical City goes. But and especially after that first half as well, I thought we were quite poor really, and Norwich should have really been 2 or 3-0 up, to be honest. But I think early second half, that goal was very important to sort of turn the tide of the game. And after that, it was sort of, I felt like we were the better team. And in the end, it was, even despite Norwich's struggles, I was quite surprised we ended up winning, because it is still maybe quite a tough place to go. But yeah, it's in our current form as well, I'm not too surprised at the same time.
Yeah, we'll talk about some players in a minute, Ben, but yeah, Jim says this man just knows what he's doing. Yeah, it feels good. Yeah, we didn't know too much about him, to be fair, coming in for this season, did we? I mean, what have we learnt about him in the 13 games that we've had so far? His in-game management is quite impressive.
Yeah, I think I completely agree. I think he's done a lot to help a lot of the players that may have been struggling last season with confidence. People like Louis Coyle, who had a bit of a poor season. Regan Slater has come into good form recently. Ryan Giles is one was very poor in the majority of his time for City, and all of a sudden this season, under a new manager, it's like a new lease of life, and a lot of the players just look like completely different versions of themselves. And I think that is almost 100% down to the manager. It sounds like he's a real father figure, and he likes to encourage them to, he says it's not wrong to make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you learn from it. And I think in the past we've not had that from managers, where the players might have been a bit too scared to make mistakes, but they're allowed that freedom now. And I think it shows that a lot of them have a lot more confidence, and he's adaptable as well. We've seen it plenty of times where he's changed formation, and I think it worked against Norwich. I think it really paid off. We were very much up against it in the first half, changes it to a 5 at the back or a 3 at the back with 3 tall centre halves, and it changes the game. It helps us get back into it, and we win the game at the end. So yeah, I think it's been a real breath of fresh air this season.
Yeah, before the 3 o'clocks kicked off, Jack, you were 6 in the table. 6. This is a team that were nearly relegated on the last day of last season. Smart Therapy says Gaffer has to take an awful lot of credit for the halftime change, but also for changing the midfield a number of weeks ago. In the early games, they were far too open through the middle and too easy to get at, but he's changed that now. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think Sergej is just over the course of the season so far. He's working out what works. He's working out what fits, what style of play we need, what players we need, who we need, what's on our bench. It's just at the moment he's just getting everything spot on, and it's clicking. That's what Walter last season didn't do. He wasn't able to plan out or see into the future. Sergej's kind of just like he's nailing everything. So we can be pleased that we've got a good manager, even though he's not well known as many managers. We wanted some well known managers, but he's kind of come under the radar, and we've landed a good one. So yeah, it's just his the way he changes games is incredible. He's so impactful, I mean, Norwich and Preston as well as another one. Whatever's not working, he can just rectify it so quickly. I mean, it's great we have Crooks back as well, but we are missing some. We've got a long injury list, but Sergej doesn't seem to be worried about that at the moment, and we're seeming to be able to conjure up some good results. So yeah, we've got a good manager on our hands. Let's just hope he can just continue what he's doing, because it's just working brilliantly.
Yeah, I mean, Southampton have just sacked their manager. I mean, I've already seen his name appear on somewhere down, way down the list, but it's on there, which is mad, isn't it?
Get your hands off him.
They want Frank Lampard, apparently.
Yeah. Right, Matt. Yeah, let's talk about some players then. First of all, our man again, every week. I mean, if anyone's watching this who knows Ryan Giles, I want him on this show. Please, in a couple of weeks, the international break, can we get Ryan Giles on here so these four can just applaud him and then just have done with it? Yeah, just how good was he? We also had one for Slater as well. Fair play for changing it second half. Slater is class again. Looks a different player, Matty. He's revolutionised these. Not saying they were average last year, but they were out of form, weren't
they? Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I think just going back to what you used to mention with Jack's point is, I think the players are actually, somebody like Amir, whatever his name is, he's really settled into his role. I mean, he got hooked on Saturday, and I was a bit surprised because I thought he was probably one of the better players, but he settled into his role. And I think having somebody a bit more comfortable who knows what he's doing in that midfield has really kind of calmed down. I think we probably had a bit of a hangover last season from missing somebody like Seri. I think we generally missed that kind of player. Amir seems to be a bit of a calmer influence in there, and Slater has just given us energy in that midfield. The first half was shocking. It was awful, and we rode our luck a little bit. But the players, like everybody's been saying, the manager's just given him a massive confidence boost. That midfield looks. I mean, who are you going to display? You can't display Slater at the moment. He's irreplaceable in that midfield. So when the other people come back, we've got a real competition on our hands in that midfield, which is what we want and what we needed. We've got 7 first team players out, and these are our backup players that are performing absolutely miracles at the moment. So yeah, long may it continue. But like Slater, Giles, he can do no wrong this season in our eyes. He's been absolutely outstanding, but not just attacking. I think we've said this before. Defensively, he's been very sound as well. So, yeah absolutely fantastic.
Ryan Giles, if you're watching this international break, we want you on. We want you on here. Right. AD says only losing 3 of the first 13 whilst being on a transfer embargo and picking up 11 injuries every week is absolutely superb. Just on that, Elliot, is there any worries that you've got from the medical side? There's the reason you're picking up all these injuries. I've seen a couple of tweets suggesting it's unusual at the start of a season to be picking up so many knocks. Is there worries about the training regime, perhaps, that it might be too intense?
To be fair, I think it was sort of similar in the last couple of years where we seem to lose player after player most weeks. I think back to a couple of years ago when we lost Delap and Philogene, and then last season losing Miller and Balumi quite early, and it just seems to be a bit of a theme over time where we keep losing key players at certain times. So I think some of it can just be natural in terms of, football injuries will happen, but particularly with City, it seems to be quite a regular occurrence to key players. So I don't think necessarily it would be a training issue. I would like to think it wouldn't be, because it's been over several managers now where I feel like we've been struggling a bit in terms of sort of first team players going off injured, and then when the injuries happen, it seems to be at least a month, 2 months that they're out. So it's either just being unlucky or I think that's maybe more likely the case. But I'm sure that if they felt like it was maybe too intense, they'd have changed that by now. And a lot of it does also seem to be sort of in-game things as well, like with McBurney picking up a knock and Crooks. Those particularly were like during sort of in-game sort of scuffles. So hopefully it's nothing to do with the training.
Okay. I mean, Ben, who'd have thought that for Hull to reach the Premier League, you need an old favourite from from Leeds United in order to get there. Randa says, Joffrey on a permanent deal has to be a priority now in the summer window. We can't let anybody else have him. I hope Leeds don't recall him to make some quick cash on him as well, or even recall him to play him, because they are struggling. The one position they're struggling for at the moment is up top. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, and do you know what? I hadn't even thought about them having the option to recall him. That is, now you've said that, is a slight worry because he's on really good form. But yeah, I mean, towards the end of last season, he was probably our standout player. And then he's just been fantastic. Last 6 games, he's got a goal or an assist, and he's just been fantastic. To consider that we've had McBurney out and we're still scoring the goals, and he's the one that's picking them up, it is great. It's just never fall in love with a lone player. I'm sure he would love to come back to City, and we would all love to have him. It's just whether we can make that happen. Obviously, with the embargo, that sort of situation looming over us still, it's a possibility, but how hard Leeds make that for us to make it permanent, we never know. But I think he does love it at City. His mum is always tweeting on Twitter, and she seems so proud of him being here as well. So I think it's a match made in heaven. It's just whether Leeds want to allow us to have a little future together.
Jack, the words clean sheet and Hull City haven't gone together at all well this season. So, apart from Norwich being awful, would you put that down to picking up a rare clean sheet away from home?
I just think, as everything, the toxicity looming around the club, I think the players lacked confidence going forward and in front of goal as well. I mean, there was getting the ball forward, but there was kind of a bit edgy to shoot or to get that final shot in the box, and also that the fans didn't make it any much easier for them, because if they're getting on the back spewing, if they're hearing chants of sack the board and sack the manager, then it can have a negative impact on the players. But I think for us, I think Panda made some incredible saves. We did some last ditch defending, which was excellent to see. I know we brought on Ajayi in the second half to strengthen up the back line, because I think Schlupp was just, I think he was ready any moment in that second half. He was just going to fire into the corner, top corner. So I think, again, Sergej tactics. He brought on. He knew that danger. He put on another defender. It allowed Coyle and Giles to move up the pitch a bit more, and consequently we got a goal. And was it the 49th minute? So it was just, they lacked confidence, but in the second half we shut shop and we was a bit tighter. So I think in the first it was one of those typical City syndromes where we're just kind of we know we can take advantage of this team, but we're a bit cautious. So yeah, again, going back to Sergej's good game management, I just think that was key to on Saturday.
Matty, Derby to come then this midweek, before we'll record this before that goes out, and Pompey at the weekend have just shipped 4 to Birmingham, who you beat yourselves a couple of weeks ago. So do you look at these 2 fixtures and go, this could be 6 points?
You should think like that, shouldn't you, in terms of where we are in the league and the form that you're on? But it's the Championship, isn't it? At the end of the day, I mean, Derby picked up a fantastic result on Saturday at Sheffield United, didn't they? And to be honest, I think we owe Derby one for that absolute shocking performance that we put in against them at the end of last season. So we could win both, we could lose both. At this point of the season, I don't think I'm actually that arsed, to be honest. I think he's just absolutely loving it at the moment. So, but I think we've said a few weeks ago, I don't fear any team in this league, and particularly our home form has picked up massively. So I would be happy if we got 3 points for the next 2 games. I think we said, looking at the fixtures earlier in the month, didn't we? That if we got 9 points, we'd be happy. We're now on that. So, like, any other points now is an absolute bonus. So, let's long may it continue. It's going to be a tough game. I think probably what's against us is the injuries. I think we're probably going to be struggling a little bit just in terms of that midweek game might be a bit too much for us with the thin squad that we've got. But if we can come away with a point, I'd be happy with that, and then target the Pompey game, because hopefully we might have a couple of players back by then, just to bolster the squad. But don't fear anybody in this league at all.
Brilliant. Long may that continue. Right, at the start of the season then, before even a ball was kicked, we asked this team to predict where Hull were going to finish. We're now a quarter of the way through, so we're now at the 25% mark, so we need to get them to revise their predictions, please. I think they might be a little higher than what we said back in August. Elliot, you'll kick this off because, of course, you weren't here with us at that particular recording. Where will Hull City finish this season? 1 to 24, please.
Before the season, and I did my predictions, I did 16th. I think if you ask me now, though, I think I would say maybe I'd take somewhere between 11th and 12th. I think just in terms of, as Matt has said, if the injuries keep happening and they might catch up to us a little bit, maybe in terms of our squad depth. And just thinking if form jumps up and down a little bit, but I think there's no reason why we can't end up finishing around where we are if we can just keep this consistency and not go on a poor run. I just think in terms of how the league can change, so we're only 13 games in, and how teams can fly up the league and drop down the league. I think somewhere around there might be a bit of a cautious prediction, but I think maybe a bit realistic as well if we keep having sort of injury problems, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's probably a safe bet to put us around where we are at the minute. I think realistically, probably 10th to 12th, like high mid-table, is probably a realistic finishing point. But I'm going to be ambitious. Top 6, why not give it a go? I always sit on the fence, but yeah, top 6. I think we'll do it.
Okay, Matty.
I love that, Ben. I'd love us to sneak in. If you look at the league at the moment, you're looking at all those teams. There's still some massive teams below us, so we would expect them to kind of pick up at some point, wouldn't you? So, if we could sneak that 6th place, that would be some achievement. But I've been quite realistic. I think with Elliot's prediction there, our squad. If we can't strengthen in January, then I think we'll tail off a little bit. But yeah, let's go for 6th. We're going to sneak it. We're going to sneak in.
Jack.
Yeah, I agree with Ben, but Matty, I'm going to be optimistic. I just at the moment, I just don't see anything going wrong unless, we haven't really had a big test in terms of like Coventry or Stoke or West Brom just yet. So see how we fare against those, and then maybe you can give a true prediction. But at the moment, I'm happy to say 6th or 7th. So, just throw us there and I'll be happy.
Okay. It's bonfire night on Wednesday, so in tune with that, we're asking which one player this season needs a rocket. Which one player hasn't yet kicked off their season as we might expect? Matty?
Difficult, because I think we've had most players have had a pretty decent start to the season. I'd probably say Pandor just for me. I think he just he's coming a bit more into form, and actually on Saturday it was quite nice to see him coming for a couple of crosses. I still want him to be more commanding for me. That's the only thing I want him to do, is to come out and be more commanding, and he needs to work on his foot. His kicking his distribution's been poor. So I'm really struggling for anybody else, to be honest. But I would go with Pandor. I think he just needs to up his game a little bit.
Jack.
Yeah, it's difficult. No one's actually performed horrendously, so you can't really judge it based on that. There's been a couple of poor performances. Drame has not really been up to par recently, so I think he needs a rocket up his arse. So just to get him, just because he was so brilliant last season at times, I just thought if we have that back, him and Giles on the channels, I think it'll just be a force to reckon with. So Drama just needs that little bit of firepower, and we've got a good right back.
Okay, Ben.
I think I'm going to go with Joseph. I know he's done a lot, and we speak a lot about how much dirty work he does and how much running, the amount of pressing he does. But in terms of him scoring goals, yeah, he's scored a couple so far, but I think there has been chances recently where it's one that you'd expect a striker to put in. Someone like Gelhardt or McBurney was in that position. 9 times out of 10, you'd think they'd put it in the back of the net. And especially on Saturday against Norwich, there was that one where he just hit it straight at the keeper. It was a really poor effort. But yeah, I think his all-round game is nearly there. It's just the final product, which is scoring goals, which is what we're lacking from him. So I think I'd say probably Kyle Joseph.
Okay. Ali Elliott?
I'd probably agree with Matty and say Panda. It's a bit harsh because I still think he's done well at times this season, but I do think in terms of distribution and sometimes with the ball at his feet, we've maybe gotten away with things sometimes where it's been a bit shaky when we've been playing out from the back. So, and also like commanding the box, sometimes he doesn't seem to have come out when he maybe should have done. So it's harsh, and he's not done really a lot wrong in my opinion in terms of anything that he may. I mean, there's been a couple of goals where you could say maybe do better, but I'd say Panda just. But I think they've all been really good so far to have us where we are.
What do you think? Let us know in the comments if they've missed any. Finally, of course, we've been doing the A to Z of Hull City, so we're after this week the letter E. Yeah, a little bit more tricky this week. So instead of asking you for one each, I'll just let you have an open discussion and so you can fight it out. Who should be in there or what should be in there?
I'll go first because I've not had a huge Hull City history, but one player does stand out. Even if I didn't watch him as much, was El Mohammadi. I just can just remember him as just being absolutely excellent, and some of the goals I've seen him score has just been brilliant. So I'm going to put that one up there.
Plus his dance against Cardiff when we got promoted.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
Just goes down
that's the iconic image I've got in my head.
Goes down in history, doesn't it? With that, so yeah, it's a great image. So yeah.
Any others? That's it. Just got one.
I think
Go on, Elliot. I'll be the gentleman. Go on,
That's for Elliot himself here.
Elliot,
Yeah.
I've got a couple. I think Stuart Elliott stands out from mid 2000s. He was. I didn't see him myself, but from what you see in here, he was a brilliant player. Keith Edwards as well, sort of from the mid 80s. He scored a load for City. And I'll throw in one sort of from when I've been watching. Maybe more just on the one season in terms of how good he was. Callum Elder in the League One season, he was really, really good and helped get us promoted. Was in the team of the season for League One as well. And I think even at Championship level, I think he got a bit of stick from City fans, but I thought he still did a decent job and he was a great servant to the club. So I'd say a few of them, and also you've got Tom Eaves in there as well, cult hero.
I think unfortunately I'm old enough to remember watching Keith Edwards, so who was quality, and I think somebody mentioned him last week, but yeah, he was quality. The one that I was going to throw into the ring was Europe. Was actually, for a team like Hull City, when we actually qualified for Europe, that was unprecedented, and I honestly don't think I'll ever see it again in my lifetime. It's a bit sad to say that, but I honestly don't think I will. And I was fortunate enough to go to the locker and game, even though we lost. It was awful, but just to actually be in Europe was just, I couldn't even imagine it. I mean, getting to the Premier League was one step, but then to actually go, even though we only won one game, we got to the next round of the qualifying, to actually see Hull, go and watch Hull City in Europe was it's a great event, a great occasion. So and memories that I'll never forget from going away and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll throw Europe into the hat. Go on,
Tough
Ben.
one. What should we go with? Yeah, go on, Ben. Settle it for us,
Ben.
please.
that was exactly what I was going to say. Europe. I think it's something that no one would have ever expected from City. I, as well, was lucky enough to actually go to the games with my mum and dad, and it was just like something I never thought I'd be able to do with my club, but we got the chance to do it, and it's something that is very significant in City's history. Obviously, there was the FA Cup, which we missed out on, but getting to Europe was just something else. And obviously, like Matty said, making it to the Premier League is one step, but getting to Europe is just a complete different level. So I think for me, if I was to decide, I'd say Europe, but there's a lot of like Elmo, the dance, Stuart Elliott. There's a lot of very good options for E.
Okay. not as difficult as I thought it was going to be then. Right, okay. We'll have to put Europe in then if two of you are saying it as well. But as brief as it was. Right. On to F.
Cheers, Mark. Cheers.
Elbow did play in Europe though, so
Okay, well, we can have those. Right, we'll have an F for on to next week, so join us, of course, for that. Also, looking, of course, back at their games against Derby and Pompey this weekend as well. Thank you very much for watching. Do drop us a quick like and a subscribe before you disappear anywhere. We're trying to grow this. So it's one of the quickest growing Hull City podcasts there are on the internet. Thank you for your company this week. Thank you, Elliot. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Matty. We'll see you at the other side of Pompey. Have a great week, everyone.